Hey, lovely freaks, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Amanda.
And I'm Hannah.
And if you're new here, hi, welcome. If you like things strange and unusual and true crime, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe or follow button. You can also head down to the description box, and you'll see a link that will take you to our link tree. That'll give you access to our social media like Twitter, Instagram, and all that jazz. Yeah. All right, guys, we're back. Took a week off. We were on vacation.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were. I was working.
She was working. But we went to the beach, had a good time. But we're back now, and we just came back from Comic-Con today.
Yep.
It was pretty good. It was a lot better last year and the year before. I don't know. There's a lot of anime stuff. That's what we were talking about. Which I like anime. It's fine. But, like, here in Mississippi, they have Anime Con in, like, April. And then they have Comic-Con in whatever it is right now, June.
Yeah.
And so I was just kind of looking forward to more movie stuff. But,
yeah,
whatever. I didn't get to see... Christina Ricci was here this year. And Neville Longbottom from Harry Potter. I can't think of his name. But we didn't get to see them. They weren't even standing out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes they stand out, but they must have been waiting until their times.
Yeah.
Or maybe you had to go backstage to see them. I don't know. Whatever. It was just kind of meh. But anywho, that's okay because we have a good case today, and that is the case of the Dyatlov Pass. Have you heard of this?
I don't think so. You might
the
be
Russian hikers that died in 1950.
Yeah, I think I've heard this.
There's
one.
also a movie called The Devil's Pass. It's a pretty good movie. It sort of focuses on the supernatural aspect of what maybe have happened. It's a pretty famous case. A lot of people know it. We're going to talk about pretty much their injuries and then a lot of different theories, and maybe we have some theories of our own. I have some, and I'm sure Hannah will have some after this, but let's go ahead and get started. So the Dyatlov Pass. Also, by the way, this is Russian names and things like that, so if I mess up, just forgive me. 9 Soviet Union hikers died in the northern Ural Mountains around the 1st or 2nd of February in 1959. Igor Dyatlov, and I couldn't figure out if he was their leader, like the leader of the hike. I couldn't figure out if that's just what they named the pass after he died, because his last name is Dyatlov, or if it was named after, like, if he just happened to have the same name as the pass. I don't know. Either way, his name is Igor Dyatlov. So for anybody being like, oh, did they name it after him? I have no idea. People say, like, when they went on this hike, Igor told people that they should have been back around February 12th or like the 13th, 14th, somewhere in there. He told them, like, we'll be back then, like their family and friends and all that, because they don't really have when you're hiking, and this is in the 50s, so, you just kind of give a rough estimate. That'll come into play later if you're wondering why I just said that. So, anyways, everyone in the group, though, they were graduate students, and they were super experienced hikers. They were at a certain level on their hiking expedition card thingy or whatever, and they were doing this hike so that way they could upgrade even further. So these are not the first time they've been on a hike. All these are very experienced hikers. They've done this before. So keep that in mind as well. There were 8 men and 2 women set out on this hike. They wanted to reach the mountain called Otortain. Probably butchered that, but whatever. They set out on their hike in January, close to like January, I think like 20th or something like that. And they stayed in a town called Vaiza before heading out. This would be the last time they would see like anybody as well, like civilization, I guess you could say, or people.
It's snowing. guess.
Oh, yeah, it's snowing.
Yeah.
But it's not bad weather. Like, the weather's, normal snow.
Yeah, what
and
month is it?
January.
Okay, so it's like beginning.
Yeah, January. I want to say maybe it was the 16th or 20th is when they set out. Like, they had to take a train to this town. They didn't just leave the town they were going to. Like, they took them a while to get to this certain town. There is a diary entry there is a diary entry, like a diary that they kept. And I don't understand this. A lot of people have seen the diary, but they say that it's hard to translate. Even people that speak Russian. And I think maybe it's because it's handwritten, so there might have been some, like...
Their handwriting must have sucked.
That, plus maybe there was some, like... Not other language. What am I trying to think of?
Like manic talking?
No, like abbreviations and stuff like you would use with friends and stuff like that. Only you would know, sort of thing. Excuse me. So they got supplies from this town, and they also had a camera. And there's lots of photos from this hike because of this, because a guy had a camera. There is also a photo of the night that they think that they may have gotten... They died. I'm not going to say attacked because we don't really know what happened. We'll get to that. But it's not a really... It's called the 33rd frame. That's what the photo is called, so if you guys want to look it up. But it literally just looks like a camera lens was on the camera to me. And I'm a photographer, so that's what it looked like to me. It didn't really look like anything. It was kind of... had some spots on the photo. So, just a fun little fact. So, January 27th, they started their hike to their first camp base, the area that they needed to go to. The next day, one of the men, Yuri, there's like 3 guys named Yuri, but Yuri, this one, he actually left the group and he went back because he was having some issues with either his knee or his leg or something like that, which he's very lucky that he left because, So January 30th, they made it to another area. It was kind of like a flat area, so they're going up and down valleys and mountains and things like that. And this was a flat area that they were at, so this was right before they started climbing up over this mountain to get to the other side. So they decided to make camp there that night, and the next morning they were going to get up and they were going to start their climb up and go up over this mountain and camp on the other side so they'd be a little bit closer, to where they needed to be. So on February 1st, the plan, like I said, was to go up over the mountain, go through this pass, and make camp once they reached the other side. However, they wouldn't make it. The weather started getting really bad. It was snowing really heavily. It was like a blizzard. And because of this, they got lost. They actually kind of went northwest instead of just going straight up and over. And it's unclear as to whether they knew they were lost or not. But whatever the case is, they decided to set up camp out in a clearing area, which a lot of people were kind of like, if they would have went a little bit further, like less than a mile further, they would have been in the cover of like some trees. So they were just out in the open and exposed, which is not very good, but for all the things that happened to them, and we'll get into it in just a second, it still doesn't matter. Like, even if they were in the woods, I feel like it would have been bad. So they make camp there for the night. And because they needed to wait out the storm, I guess they decided, I don't really know why. They were experienced hikers. You would think that they would have been like, let's make camp in the forest where we're not getting snowed on as much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of weird. But maybe the forest was...
Creepy.
It could have been. So, you know how I told you they were supposed to be back on January 12th? February 12th, sorry.
Yeah.
So, February 12th rolls around, and they're a no-show. Then the 20th, or the 16th no-show, 18th no-show, the 20th... The family finally is like, okay, something's wrong, all their families. So the families were determined to set out and search for them. It took a couple of weeks, but eventually they got a team together. They also got the military involved. This is in Russia. So they just got pretty much everybody involved that they could think of. They finally found the bodies on February 26th. When they found the campsite, things were kind of weird. Like, everything was all over the place. But not, like, the tents were kind of caved in and stuff like that. But what was really weird was their shoes and their clothes and their warm weather gear were all inside the tent. And the only, you know how there's a zipper on the tent?
Yeah.
The zipper wasn't unzipped. It looked like somebody cut the tent from the inside out to get out of the tent. Yeah. It looked like they were sleeping, and then all of a sudden they got really fucking scared of something and just, like, knifed at that shit and got out of the tent real quickly.
That's weird.
Yeah. And all the well, I don't know if all the tents were like that, but most of the tents were like that. And
like, it wasn't zipped out. Everything was cut open.
Yeah. It's weird. So, they also left their cold weather gear, like I said, which was really weird because they know that they can't survive out in the elements for very long without their cold weather gear, like gloves, socks, shoes. It looks like to the people that were finding the finding this camp, the search team, it looks like they were out there somewhere naked or in long johns or something like that. And they were thinking, okay, well, there's no way they could have survived, So they found some footprints, some of the footprints looked like they didn't have shoes on. Some of them did look like they had shoes on. So there's that. But they followed the footprints to a little wooded area, kind of like around, it was kind of away from camp, but it was almost like they were backtracking. You know how if you could tell if somebody went back the way they came?
Yeah.
So that's where it was, and it was this wooded area. This is where they found the bodies. 5 of the hikers were only wearing socks, and some of the rescuers thought that they experienced, I'm going to mess this up, paradoxal undressing. So what that is, it is, despite the low temperatures in the body, victims of paradoxalia, whatever, they remove their clothes because they have a feeling like they're warm. Also, some people that die of hypothermia actually get very warm before they die. However, that doesn't explain them running from camp and the fact that the other 4 hikers that they found did have clothes on. What's even weird, though, is that the other 4 hikers that they found weren't wearing their own clothes. They were wearing the clothes of the people that were naked.
Were these people dead or no? What they found?
Yeah, everybody was dead.
Okay. So they were, really? That's really weird.
So basically, the first 5 that they found, they were naked, right?
Yeah.
And so I think they had like long johns on, but basically naked. Like they had socks on, that was about it. But the other people, and they found these other people pretty far away, the other 4 people that did have clothes on, they were actually the clothes of the people that were naked.
Oh, I know what's going on.
It's weird.
What if they were playing strip
poker and they just ran away from camp?
I don't know.
Fuck it. No. So yeah, the hypothermia thing with them, the paradoxical undressing, a lot of people think that may be what happened, and it could have been, but I'll have to explain their injuries because that just doesn't make sense once you hear this. Okay, so without butchering these names, I'm going to kind of do these with abbreviations, but I'm going to tell you now, starting all their injuries, and then we'll get into the theories. So, Yuri D and Yuri K were found with their hands completely crushed in and obliterated. And nearby, there was a tree with human flesh on it, and it almost looked like they had either been punching the tree or they were trying to climb up the tree to get away from whatever.
Holy shit.
Yeah, their hands were just like mangled messes. Both hands. So that's really strange. Igor, He was the leader of the pack. The pack. He was the leader of the hiking group, like I said, and he was the only one that wasn't found with like severe injuries. He did have scrapes and cuts all over him, but he was kind of laying there like a vampire, like his hands were over his chest, and he was just laying in the snow. Really weird.
That's weird.
Yeah. Rustum S. was found with a 6-inch skull fracture on his side of his head. These names. Zenaida K. I'm saying abbreviations for the last names because they are really long and really hard to say. Had scratches all over her face, and her hands also were completely mangled, bloody stumps. Now, those 5 people, that was the 5 people that were found that day. But it took 2 months for them to find the other people that were clothed, that I told you about.
Yeah.
So it did take some time to find the other people. Nikolai T., he was kind of under the snow, and he was dressed, but he had total body fractures, almost like he had been beat to death. They found the last 2 bodies with the most craziest injuries, though. Semyon Z was found with his eyeballs ripped out of his head, and the soft tissue around his eyes was, which could have been from birds. It was kind of like mangled, like the soft tissue around, which could have been from birds like pecking his eyes.
Yeah.
But his eyeballs were missing. And then he also had skull fractures, and his chest was completely caved in, almost like something had like crushed his chest in or something like that.
Yeah.
Alexander K. was also missing his eyes, and he had skull fractures as well. This name. Lidmilla? I don't know. Linda. We're going to call her Linda because I can't say the last name. She was the last woman because, I told you there were only 2. She was found with all the skin on her face gone. Like,
oh my God.
The top layer of her skin was gone. And then her eyes were missing as well. Her face was crushed, like her nose and face were crushed in. And her mouth was wide open with her tongue ripped out.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So that's a lot to go through. That's a lot of injuries to go through. But that's
weird injuries, especially if it's just people being out in the wilderness.
Yeah, it's not like they were in the middle of a war or were, found on the streets or something like that. I don't
feel like a werewolf. I mean, not a werewolf. A wolf could do that.
Yeah, like the
I was
animals.
starting to think of that, but then I was like, I don't think they would do. And also, they would probably eat them. And also, I was thinking maybe people came and kind of like snow pirates.
Well, we'll get to some of the theories because I'll get there. Hold on.
Okay.
So over the years, a couple of years ago, actually, like in 2019, I think is when it was, the Russians actually said that they believed for a fact that they knew what had happened to them. And they said that it was definitely hypothermia. And what was the other thing? Oh, an avalanche, which there were absolutely no signs of an avalanche. So let's go back. So the families obviously were pissed, and they were like, we want answers because this is weird. This is strange. Why the hell did they have all these injuries? Like, it'd be different if they just found them with frostbite and dead out in the snow, but they didn't. So the medical examiner did the autopsy. Of course, he said that it was hypothermia. He said they all died of the paradoxical undressing, which only 5 of them had their clothes off. So what the hell was going on with the other 4?
If they all got it.
Yeah, and it's not a very common thing either. The paradoxical undressing. It's not it's pretty rare. Not very many people experience the warmth so hot that you feel like you're gonna burn up, and you start taking all your clothes off. So the medical examiner did his thing. Then after that, like a couple of weeks after that, the Russian government came in and they sealed all the documents. They got all the documents. They got all of the like medical examiner, the evidence, like everything, and they sealed it. And it was sealed to where no one could open it ever again and like go through it or whatever. So at the funeral, they even had, let me back up. At the site where they found the bodies, they did some testings around that area, and they found that there was high levels of radiation. So then at the funeral, a lot of their families said that their skin was kind of like this orange color, and their hair was gray, which none of them had gray hair before they left. Which the gray hair could be from like just the elements like decomposing the body quicker.
Yeah.
But the orange skin is really weird, and that's like conducive with radiation, like high levels of radiation. Also, their bodies have a lot of radiation in them as well.
Yeah.
So with that being said, and the government like shutting that shit down, a lot of people, their theory is that they maybe ran into like maybe they had military bases up on this mountain somewhere, like secret military bases, the Russians did.
Yeah.
And when they got there, they were like, oh shit, they're testing bombs and they're testing stuff. Some people believe maybe they had like they're called parachute bombs or something like that. And it's the bombs where they have the parachutes on them and they're like doing the dropping the bombs. And maybe that's what scared them out of their tents, because they were like, you know, what the fuck is going on? Like they hear bombs around them, so they just cut open their tent and run. And then maybe they came upon these military people and they killed them. Because they like saw something they weren't supposed to. Because this is back in the 50s in Russia, so they were doing a lot of testing of nuclear weapons and things like that. Well, everybody was. But, you know, It's very possible. That's one of the strongest theories, I think, as far as, like, a possibility. There was also this crazy theory that Igor was supposed to meet up with these Americans that were spies or something for Russia. I mean, like, for America, but they were infiltrating Russia. And they found out that he was, like, going to turn on them, so they killed everybody. That theory doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, that first one feels pretty accurate. But there's also, when you said they were taking off their clothes and everything, and, like, so there's this creature, I can't remember what it's called. It's some creature that it's in the snow, and it's a
Yeti?
And no, it's not a Yeti.
No.
It's a girl, some kind of ghost thingy, maybe. I can't remember. But she, like, entrances you, and you, like, take your clothes off because you're burning up. There's, like, some kind of fever that you have, and you take off your clothes, and she tells you to come into the snow with her.
I don't know that one.
So that's another one where I was like, that's kind of interesting.
Where's my daughter when I need her?
Yeah,
she would know.
She would know.
So with that theory, there was also people saying that maybe it was the people that live in those mountains, because the natives that live in those mountains are called the Mansi people, but they're not known to be violent at all. Some people did have a theory that maybe they had stumbled upon a burial ground, and the Mansis have like this folklore where there's a protector of their burial grounds that maybe, was a spiritual entity that was harming them or something like that. But of course, all the people in the village, like the people in towns and stuff like that, were like, "Oh, it's got to be the natives." But no, it wasn't them. Like I said, the Mansi people were really not threatening. Like, they had never started a war or anything. They weren't savages or nothing like that. So that didn't make any sense. Then there was another theory of a Yeti, obviously. People say that they have seen Yetis in that area, like Sasquatch and all that.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying it couldn't be. It could be. I don't know. And then, of course, there was an alien theory. So one of the things that's really weird is that some of the people said in that area they were hiking the same time that this group was. Mm-hmm. And they said that they saw orange balls in the sky, like orange orbs or something like that. Mm-hmm. This was like on the other side of the mountain, I think. They also, in that area, not very far from where they were, the tops of the trees were burnt. And we've seen that before at like Skinwalker Ranch, where, and also with Travis, the guy that got abducted by aliens. Travis Scott.
I don't know.
That's a rapper. Travis Walton or whatever his name is. You know, when he was with his friends and he got abducted. The tops of the trees were because of the UFOs. But the one thing that doesn't make any sense is that we've never heard of alien abductions where they just kill everybody and attack them. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Weird. I mean, it could be, because there was a guy that was researching all this, and he was trying to come up with his own theories. Because after the government shut it down, everybody was pissed, and they were like, no, we got to figure this out. So they decided to, like, go on their own hikes, their own expeditions, do their own research. Well, this guy was talking about UFOs. He had found all this, like, evidence of UFOs and stuff like that in the area. Aliens and stuff. Well, the government came to him, the Russian government, and they were like, yeah, you're going to need to stop saying that, and we're going to need all your shit. And they took all of his research.
That's weird.
It is weird. If it was true, I mean, he could have been a liar, but, I mean...
If the government steps into anything, it's like...
It's suspicious.
Literally. The government has better things to do. That's just too suspicious. When they try to cover up shit, you know that's for a reason.
Yeah. That's why a lot of people think it's either got to be aliens... Or
radiation.
It could be the radiation, and maybe they were testing nuclear weapons. Because there were some people, like doctors and nurses and stuff, saying that when bombs go off, if they go off so close to someone, it can crush their, like the crushes that they experience in their body, like their chest being caved in and their skull fractures and things like that. Now, the tongue being ripped out and the eyes, a lot of people said that could be just the animals and birds, because crows and things like that tend to go for the eyes, and they go to the softer parts of your tissue. And if that girl maybe died with her mouth open, maybe it could have... I don't know. That's weird to me, because her tongue was like ripped out. It wasn't that it was just chewed off.
It might have been a bird just like ripped it out.
Yeah.
And she like died of like, you can die with a like shocked look on your face.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people said. It looked like she had died with that kind of look on her face. But, I was trying to look and see if there were any other theories that I wrote down. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, the avalanche. So, yeah, the government tried to say later on that there was an avalanche. But literally, there was no signs of an avalanche.
That's really weird, because the bodies would be covered with snow.
That, plus the bodies would be way away. The avalanche would have swept their bodies way away
from the scene.
And it would have also, I don't know where I was. I had to pause. But anyways, yeah, the avalanche thing just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Their bodies weren't swept away. They weren't covered in snow. Not even the campsite was covered in snow. Like, it had snow on it, but it wasn't, piles and piles and mounds of snow. It was just a light, normal dusting like it had snowed. So, yeah, those are the theories that a lot of people have come up with. Oh, I know who it was. It was the KGB that told the guy they needed the evidence. Mm-hmm. So that's like...
That's a big deal.
Like a big deal, yeah. So it's basically the police force of Europe or whatever. So they told that they needed his evidence from the UFOs and stuff like that. So, really weird. Oh, my nose. Sorry, guys. Yeah. That's all of the theories that I have.
Wasn't this a movie?
Yeah, The Devil's Pass.
That's what it is. I've seen this movie, so that's why I was like, this.
But in the movie, it is like a spiritual, like,
I thought it was like a
mountain
sci-fi thing.
Yeah, it is, but isn't it like a I said spiritual. I don't know why I said that.
Like another dimension.
Oh, is it?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I thought it was like a creature, like
Or,
some
yeah,
sort of folklore
or
creature or something like that.
I can't remember. It's been a while.
It's been a while since I've seen it too, so I didn't really remember. But yeah, that is the story, the case of the Dyatlov Pass. Still don't know what happened. It's crazy. Oh, the guy that had the camera, you know, I told you they took a camera. He took a camera and he took a picture, and that's that 33rd frame picture that you can look up on Google. And it's just a black picture with some white spots, so it really looks like either somebody maybe put their hand over the lens at the time, or the lens was on it, the lens cap was on it. But he had enough sense, or something scared them enough to he didn't grab anything else. He didn't grab his cold weather gear, but he grabbed that fucking camera when he jumped out of that tent. That's another thing. Like, what would make them rip open their tents and run out of them? Like, I would just unzip the bitch and run out.
Even, like, I was thinking, like, if it's bombs, maybe I would still, like, our brains go into so much panic because, like, shootings and, like, fires and stuff, we always look for the most common exit because you're in a panic. So you think, okay, I'm going to walk out the door. You don't think, oh, I have many exits. Oh, I also have a window I can just bust open. You never think that way. You think, okay, I'm just going to go out here and just go out the regular exit. So that's why I'm thinking,
I don't know how they
something would have to really scare them.
Yeah, and I also don't know how they really pinpointed whether or not they ripped them open from the inside out. Like, could they have been wrong about that? Could something or someone have ripped open their tents? The military? Could they have just...
Or they somehow damaged their tents before?
And a lot of people were like, well, if it was the UFO theory... Because some people were like, well, what if it was aliens, UFOs, aliens, and they were just some that we don't encounter very often, like killers, basically. Because a lot of UFO abductions, they don't kill you, they just test you. Don't know why the fuck they'd want to do that with us, but it's probably why we don't see them anymore. But anyway, because they're like, America? No.
We figured out they're really stupid.
But, well, yeah, so the radiation, because we've talked about this before with the Travis Walton. I can't remember his last name. I think it's Walton. When the tops of the trees were burnt, where he claimed that he got abducted, there was also radiation, high levels of radiation. Because wherever there's UFO sightings, there's high levels of radiation. So yeah, it's just strange to me.
Or maybe the government did kill them, but they tried to make it look like a animal, like, got them.
Oh, some people think that,
crushed their hands and crushed their... And maybe they took their eyes and their tongue out just to be like, make sure it looks like an animal got them.
Yeah, looks like they were mauled by something. But I don't know. Let us know what your theories are, because this one is tricky. There's lots of different theories out there. I just want to know what happened. Like, even to this day, there is a Dyatlov Pass group that you can, like, find. I think they have one on Facebook. And it's for people that really just still want to know what happened. I mean, the case, like I said, back in 2019 or 20, that was when they came out again and officially made the announcement of hypothermia and the avalanche. But nobody believes that shit. So, yeah. Let us know what you guys think. As always, go ahead and subscribe, comment, and like our videos. And you can rate us on Spotify, iTunes, I think iHeartRadio. Anywhere you're listening to us, you should be able to rate us. Give us a rating, because that helps us out a lot. And yeah, let us know which you guys may want to hear next. I haven't done a poll in a long time on Twitter, but I will, because I don't know, I kind of wanted to do a true crime one this time, but then I was like, I kind of want to do something spooky, so I found this, and I was like, oh yeah, it's kind of spooky and true crime. Yeah. Has all of it mixed in. Now, there is another case that happened in Russia, and this was also a hiking case. It was a little bit weirder, and if you guys want to hear about that one, let us know. I can't think of what the name of it is right now, but it did involve a hiking group, and it was pretty crazy, like, what happened. and just really mysterious. So let us know your thoughts, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.